I thought a productive day, a lot of special teams work, and I was really kind of anxious to see what type of mentality, what type of focus we would have after last night's scrimmage and practice. For the most part, I thought our players came with a workmanlike mentality, but you can see the fatigue setting in on particularly some of the younger players, and this is where you have to learn how to fight through it. This is where you have to learn how to persevere. After watching the video from last night, defensively, first corrections that we have to get made are our points on the quarterback. Our rush points is too many times we let the quarterback escape the pocket. Can't happen. Ball disruptions. We didn't create any turnovers in live situations. And for us to be a defense, we have to scratch and claw. And so we have to do a much better job on ball disruptions. And then we didn't win first down. And being a great third down defense is a byproduct of winning 1st and 10. We weren't able to do that. Offensively, positives, we didn't turn the football over. I thought that was great, especially, in the elements with the rain. So I thought that was extremely positive. We're still trying to establish who our playmakers are right now. We're having to play too perfect, and you can't do that. The game of football is comprised of big plays. And so we're still work in progress of really identifying who our playmakers are. I think we need to become more efficient in the throw game. But, tomorrow we'll come back, we'll have a full padded practice, and we go into the grind. And then they'll have a couple days off to get their legs back, school starts, and then we're basically in a game week preparation for Austin Peay. So tomorrow's practice is critical. Again, today I thought we gained some valuable special teams work. So I'll answer your questions.
It seems like, I don't have the numbers, but it seems like quarterback completion percentage is very low. How much of that is quarterback wide receiver chemistry, and how much of it is the defense right now?
It's a combination. We look at pass efficiency, and I think a lot of times the quarterbacks are gauged by completion percentage. We've had way too many drop passes. And for us to effectively execute and move the football, we have to catch the football. And then when we have some plays, I thought our quarterbacks left some throws out there. When we get a guy running open, we have to complete the pass. So I think it's a combination of a lot of little things, and our overall efficiency has to improve.
In body stature, Jason Krug looks like an elite talent. How far is he being elite, labeled elite on the field?
He has a long ways to go. And I know he knows the improvements that he needs to make, and he's making strides. He's making improvements, but we need more from him, and he understands that, and he's working at it. But the way I look at it is he's a redshirt freshman. He's still young. You're exactly right. He is an imposing structure. He needs to start playing big. When he runs a hitch, he's got to eat the ground up. He has to play big, and he's learning like a young receiver does, and I think he's going through that period of time right now where it's a learning process.
Butch, we've heard you on the practice field good after the good before, but today you maybe seem a little bit extra animated. Is it just an effort to help them seize the next 2 weeks going into the season?
It is. Everything, in preparation with this football team, every rep is a valuable rep. Every practice is a valuable practice and repetition. And the way it's structured right now, we're going to take a couple days off. So these practices are critical, and I can tell, I told our team, I can tell the type of mentality that we have by the way we walk into our team meeting to start the day. And we have some individuals that have to learn how to push through. When you're mentally fatigued, finding ways, that's where you really get better. So it's understanding what your team needs and pushing them through. But for our team to grow up, I always said, you want to be a player-coach team, not a coach-coach team. I need more leadership. I need more guys making each other accountable to each other.
When you're talking about playing 13 to 17 true freshmen, how much harder is it to help them push through this time because they've never been through it before?
It's a grind, but that's where you have to rely on your older players to really teach them. But you know what? The older players are also learning a new way. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but there's no excuse. We have a standard and expectation the way we're going to practice around here, and that'll never be compromised.
Who are you seeing kind of step forward as leaders?
Well, I see Corey Miller, stepping up with the defensive front. Offensively, Juwan James, James Stone. I think Alex Bullard has as well. So I see some guys stepping up, and but we need more, and we'll continue to progress. But kind of what you want to avoid happen is becoming in survival mode. We don't want them to get through the practice. We want them to attack the practice. And so it's an ongoing process.
You named a few offensive linemen who were kind of critical of the offensive line the other day, but in terms of some stuff they've done. How have they responded to that?
Responded well. Responded like I thought they would. They're very prideful. They could see on film. Every time I say something, there's a reason behind it. I just don't blindly throw darts. And they saw it on film. And they've come out the last couple of days and they worked to make those corrections.
Coach, at safety, how's the competition with Daryl? Is he getting close? It seems like he's kind of inching ahead.
You know what? Ladero has really progressed the last couple of days. And he's had a hip pointer. He's fought through that hip pointer. I think he's showing some toughness, and he's gaining some confidence, and I'm really been encouraged by what I see with him.
In terms of the freshmen in the secondary that Kansas really formed, how far are those guys from being game ready?
They have no choice. They have to be game ready, and they're progressing, and they're going to find out what it's like. But Cam Sutton is doing a great job. Malik, I can see that the daily grind kind of getting to him a little bit, but Justin is trying to mentor them. So it is what it is, and we just have to keep pushing them as coaches.
Freshmen, in terms of daily grind and attacking practice, any freshmen stand out of doing that exceptionally well?
Well, I think the big thing we're looking for is consistency and performance in everything that we do. And, we can't have the ups and downs. And right now, with the freshmen, I think part of it's a maturity level, is we still see the ups and downs. And we're really looking for the consistency thing, and I think you get that over time.
Well, you look at those freshman wide receivers, a lot of talk about them in the first week of camp. They didn't make a bunch of plays last night. But they, what you're talking about with the ball, around the world,
Yes.
where are they?
Again, it's the consistency and performance, just like the young corners. We ask a lot of them, from the physicality in the blocking game to the volume of running, but that's come to expected, with that position, and they're grinding it through. I thought they really sucked it up today and really pushed through, but you're right, again, we're force feeding them. Every day is a new learning experience for them. They don't have the luxury of sitting back and learning from experienced wide receivers. They're in the first of the line. They're in the front of the lines. They're taking the first reps. So every day is a new teaching opportunity.
So how do you keep them from falling into survival at that position?
You're on them every day. On them every day. You're coaching them on every single rep. Zach Azani does a tremendous job. And you're coaching them every rep. You don't let them relax. You can't. And they just got to grind through. They have no choice.
Coach, you're talking about the attention that you tell your work special teams every day. What's your comfort level or lack of comfort for special teams unit as a whole?
Well, the thing, that you're concerned with going in the first couple games of the season are game speed repetitions. We try to go good on good and scout team and make live situations, but the speed of the game on game day really changes. So the first couple games, you're very concerned about the special teams part of it. And always, you look at the storyline in the first few games of the season, a lot of them are always come down to plays in special teams. And I think a lot of that is the game speed repetitions. And then the individuals that are starters on offense and defense also playing in special teams and being able to play at a high level, in both phases of their game.
You still have Pilardi above all three.
Yes.
You mentioned Alex Bullard. What's he done to solidify himself at that guard spot?
Consistency, level of toughness. We got him some reps today at center just to get him comfortable snapping the ball. But I've liked his camp.
Randolph looked green jersey today, but in general,
Just precautionary. Yeah, I've really seen him the last couple days really improving. His body position, his leverage, his use of his hands are getting better.
did you talk to Keisha before he's worrying about the knee or anything
No.
like that at all?
No.
One more, guys. You're talking all about eye control and see a little, see a lot. Is that something that AJ needed to work on, or the linebackers as a whole needed?
All of us, we talk about in terms of eye discipline. Everything is about eye discipline. Everything is focusing on your keys, and we call those eye violations. And we had way too many eye violations last night, and you particularly saw it in play action. You saw it in some gap schemes in the run game, you know, and us understanding where is our help coming from. You know, everything is about gap integrity. And so discipline of your eyes, and it's a discipline, it's a fundamental aspect that has to be practiced. You can practice it in a walkthrough. You can practice it in your mindset of really having a narrow vision and really focusing on the task at hand. A lot of times young players, they get caught staring. They get caught staring at the big picture instead of seeing that little part that's a big part of their fundamentals in their assignment.
Status of
Thank you.
Mark Lane?
You know what? He's good. We've held him out a couple days, just precautionary, and we expect him back.
Dylan, nothing serious for him?
He was at practice today, so we're still waiting, but he practiced.